How's it going, my fellow hooligans? I promise this is the last time we're going to be talking about the NASCAR playoff format until something changes. I'm not talking about this anymore. This is the the race review, then the second video on Monday, and then this one now is the third one. So we're done after this. Get all your final opinions in because I'm not talking about the playoff format after this until they make a change because it's too much now. But as you can see here, Adam Stern did come out with an article from Sports Business Journal, and it is a source or sources that they are looking at it. That a senior NASCAR team executive said that format changes they'd like to see evaluated include whether the regular season champion should get locked into one of the latter rounds of the playoffs, and it comes from the article where they are going to basically be reviewing the playoff format following the blowback. So literally all the complaints that you guys were making, it made a difference. Because I even said this on the race review and on Twitter. I expected outrage. I knew that was coming. And I didn't feel like I needed to be part of it because I've been saying this for years. I haven't liked this playoff format since its implementation. And maybe me being a Gordon fan had something to do with it back in 2014. We got off on the wrong foot. But genuinely, 2014, and I remember saying this back then, even though I didn't have a YouTube channel, I remember thinking about this. I was like, this is going to be a short-term gain. I think the drama and the chaos is going to be short-term benefits, but in the long run, it's going to do a lot of harm. And that's exactly what it did. I mean, I think the first 2-3 years, it was fine. And then people got sick of it because you eventually end up seeing what it does. And it basically means the season doesn't really matter. What matters is those final few races, and in particular that final race. And so it's not a surprise to me, but this was the one time where it looked like even the people that didn't really care about the playoff format, they just watch NASCAR and enjoy it and root for their favorite driver, even those people got angry with it. And I don't know what caused that. Maybe it's the perfect storm of Joey Logano being the competitor that ended up winning the championship, and a lot of people don't like Logano like how they don't like Denny Hamlin. I'm sure if Denny Hamlin had the season Logano had, then people would be complaining the same exact way, maybe even more. And it's because of you guys on social media. You guys were just bashing this thing, and it's not just you guys as well. It's also journalists that are very well respected in the sport and drivers as well that are talking to journalists, and everyone is just coming to this agreement like, we can't really do this anymore. Like, this is really annoying. And so that is where this comes from. So I'm going to go through this article, of course. It's written by Adam Stern on SBJ, Sports Business Journal. So if you want to go read that, go check it out. We're not going to read the entire thing. I just want to highlight a certain section of it because it actually showcases what NASCAR might be talking about and what they might be changing. Before we get into that, I just want to give a shout out to all the Patreon members. You guys are the best. Thank you guys for your support on the channel. We're almost at 82,000 subscribers, which means we will be 18,000 away from 100,000. So please, if you are not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys as always. And yeah, I'll be flying to Charlotte tomorrow. So let's see how that goes. Okay, so the article states at the beginning that NASCAR will review the playoff format this offseason and changes are possible as soon as next year, though a larger overhaul may need to wait until 2026 if it ends up being pursued. Exactly what I thought. And the reason for this, guys, is that Phoenix has paid a lot of money. They spent a lot of money to that racetrack, but not just Phoenix. You have to think about partners that NASCAR does have, like whether it be Coca-Cola or I don't know exactly who their partners all are, but remember NASCAR went away from the series sponsorship. It's just called the NASCAR Cup Series, but they went with like a partner thing. So they have multiple partners and stuff like that. And those partners pay money, and the broadcasts, the TV broadcasts also pay money for certain things that might be in place, and having a championship race might be one of them. So in order to remove the championship race, it might be pretty difficult to do next season, which I completely always understood, and I knew that the championship race is going to happen next season. But the bigger deal is that you can make changes past that, like in 2026. And so Let's go to where he talks about the two people familiar with the matter confirmed to SBJ that NASCAR plan to review this format this offseason, with one saying any changes of 2025 would likely be small tweaks given that the season is only a few months away. Any change would have an impact on not only teams but also broadcasters, tracks, and sponsors, like I just said. A more complete overhaul would thus likely need to wait until 2026 if one is warranted, the person said. The second person cautioned against assuming that a bigger overhaul will be deemed necessary, but confirmed that the playoff format would be reviewed in the coming weeks. Nothing surprising here, because I know for a fact NASCAR thinks their playoff format is pretty good. That's just what they think. You might not think it. And listen, we don't all have the same opinion. 80% of us could have an opinion, 20% of us might have a different opinion. NASCAR is part of that 20%. They truly believe that their playoff format is good and that it generates drama and excitement, and it makes their drivers and race teams race really hard, and it creates these storylines, and they genuinely think that. People in the sport as well, people like Kyle Petty, genuinely think this format is good. They're not lying, they're not kissing ass, they honestly like it. I'm just telling you how it is. So what can you, I mean, we all have opinions, so it is what it is. Now, what could actually change? And Adam goes here to talk about how some of the minor changes, or this is what could happen. The topics that should be examined include whether a win should automatically qualify a driver for the playoffs. This is something that I talked about for a long time. This is something that Eric is on about. This is something that Jeff Gluck is on about. This is something that a lot of people are on about. That, you know, why should we let Harrison Burton into the playoffs if he wins a race? Like I said, in my format, I would actually keep that just because, you know what, it gives the smaller teams a chance. I do understand that I've always felt like this. It shouldn't be there, but I think NASCAR wants it. And I can come up with a format where I think it works in a way, although it could cause some issues. But basically, they're examining whether that should automatically qualify a driver for the playoffs. And they can make that change. That is something that does not include sponsors and tracks and stuff like that. It does include drivers and race teams. But they could make that change, and it would be as simple as top 16 in points make it, right? It wouldn't actually be winning you're in. It's a very minor change, and it is something that they could do, and a lot of people really won't notice it because, again, the guys competing for a championship will most likely have already won, and it just eliminates the possibility of people like Austin Cindric, who are at 20, outside the top 20 in points, and people like Harrison Burton, winning a race and doing it that way. Or it would avoid situations like Austin Dillon at Richmond, where he just decided, I don't care, I'm going to wreck everything in my way and do everything in my power to win. And then NASCAR had to go ahead and penalize him and take that win away because he actually went too far. So it would stop those instances, but it wouldn't really change. Like, this is my thing, is that wouldn't change what you guys are upset about. You guys are upset about Joey Logano getting into the playoffs and winning the championship. I mean, even if you took away winning you're in, Joey Logano would still be in the top 16 of drivers, and he still would most likely win the championship under the current format. Nothing would have changed. So I think you guys need to be careful with what you are asking for. Remember, the winning you're in is something that I do believe should not be in there. However, Harrison Burton and Austin Cindric didn't do anything. And when they did win, I knew they wouldn't do anything. So it's like, it doesn't affect the end, the end of it. And so while winning you're in is a debate, I don't think that is the right issue that NASCAR executives should be looking at. It's something they can change that will make people happy, because winning you're in is a lot of things that a lot of people are not happy with. But that's not really the issue. I'll be completely honest with you guys. It just isn't. So what if Austin Cindric and Harrison Burton didn't win, or if their wins didn't count, right? Then we would have like Ty Gibbs, Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace in. But again, it wouldn't. Those guys were competing for a championship anyways. This goes back to, why do we even have 16 drivers entering? Because there are not 16 teams or 16 drivers that can win the championship. That is not possible. There's not enough competition, honestly, and there never will be, to have 16 teams that can win a championship. The next-gen car has closed that gap, but 16? Nah. No. That's just too much. There's also possible changes, like whether the regular season champion should get locked into one of the latter rounds. And again, that is a change you can make without really changing the format. And I'm going to sound like a broken record. Again, that's not really, like, the issue, again, I'm just being honest with you. It's not the issue. Tyler Reddick won the regular season championship. Tyler Reddick made the Final Four, and I know there are years where the regular season champion does not make it to the championship race. However, they usually always make it to the round of 8, and then but that's where the issue is. It's not the regular season champion getting a freebie, because you know what this does? People will just get angrier, because then let's say Tyler Reddick wins the regular season championship and he's locked into the round of 8. Then he can just take the round of 12 and round in 16 off. There's no pressure. And this is what I mean. You're not looking at the right problem. You're actually changing things that might give yourself more of a problem without looking at the root of the issue. The root of the issue is that we determine a champion in a way where whatever you do in the regular season, if you don't perform in a certain section of races, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Even if you said, let's take the regular season champion and lock him into the final race, you give him 9 free races where the fans of that driver and the fans of that team, he can do whatever the hell he wants, and next thing you know, 9 races in an entire season is absolutely meaningless for someone like Tyler Reddick, who won the regular season championship. Why would you do that? And then you go to the championship race, and again, you only have a 25% chance at a racetrack that might fit certain teams better than others, and a situation where it's just a race and you could have anything happen to you. That's, again, you're not looking at the right issue. The right issue is something that they have to probably wait until 2026. This is my message, really, to you guys, to NASCAR, is that these minor adjustments might be something that you want, and it might be something that you'll be happy to see. However, the actual root of the problem is not going to change until they can actually change what the issue is, which is the championship race. Now, if NASCAR executives can, this is all I want. I'm being completely honest. If they can just come out and say, and I quote, these are the words, we are looking at changes whether we should have a championship race or not. If they just said that, if they just said we will look at the championship race, then I will be happy with whatever they want to think about and discuss, because then I will know that they are looking at the right issue. I will be honest, nothing here in this section really, where is it? Right here. Nothing in that section is going to change anything. They are minor things that will honestly not change the root issue. And the root issue is that championship race. And so we go back to the ratings. Despite the format criticism, NASCAR still finished 2024 playoffs up 6%. That was no surprise. Their ratings have been going slightly up since 2022. But again, the root issue for the Sunday finale for Phoenix Raceway, why they implemented this championship race is because they thought that this race would be so special. When it was back at Homestead, of course. It would be so special that the ratings would go up, more people will watch, and it would culminate into this finale, this Game 7 moment. But it doesn't happen. NBC earned a 1.6 rating and 2.895 million viewers, roughly flat from last year, which is 2.9 million. And the thing is, those are the same numbers, those viewers, 2.5 to 2.8 million. That's the same number of viewers that has been consistent throughout the entire playoffs. And it is because this championship race does not generate a Game 7 moment that you think it does. So it's never going to get higher ratings than every other race, because it's just another race. There's simply no excitement that you can make. So let me go back to Eric's format that he talked about. So let me just find it. This is Brian actually made a really good design. He did a format basically of it. Where is it? It's right here. Okay, so this was Eric's format, and this is what I mean by making a change that will actually solve the root issue. So the root issue that I am talking about is the championship race. Now in Eric's format, he wants the 3 races. In my format, I want 10. And it is simply because 3, I still think you have the same issue of a sample size is just too small. I still think you will still have that problem of, first of all, you have the entire season basically being in this one little area of the season. Like all the focus will be there. However, I'm okay with this. If NASCAR went with something like the final round being 3 races and they wanted to keep eliminations, you won't hear me complain about it. I will be happy about it because they moved away from the championship race. Remember the balance that I talked about. If they go to a format like this, we would have gone from 2003, which is all the way over here, to 2014, which is all the way over here, which is now what we have, which is like right around here. The middle is right here. We would be right about there. So we would be, again, closer to the middle, and I am happy with that. And removing the championship race is the root issue. The championship race is the root issue to it all. What are things that I don't agree about this format? He has a wild card race, which I don't really find plausible. I think the idea of a wild card race, again, it just feels another gimmick that is just not necessary. I also don't think you need seeds to be locked in because, again, that race technically would be a very important race, that wild card race, and then for those 8 drivers, it wouldn't matter to them. So again, I just don't think it's necessary. But the main thing about this that I don't agree with is eliminations. That's the main thing. I think while the root issue is the championship race, and I'll be happy with this because it removes it, you have another issue with eliminations. And eliminations causes race manipulation problems that we have seen. It causes the wall ride by Ross Chastain. It causes Kevin Harvick wrecking the entire field at Talladega because his engine was blowing up and he needed a finish that would just save him points. It causes what we saw at Martinsville with team manufacturers and team orders and stuff like that, and then the drama and nonsense that NASCAR would have to deal with because of eliminations. Eliminations are not really a problem, but when you look at it a little bit deeper in the format that you use, you understand that they create problems. And I give you this solution is that why do we really need eliminations? Okay, let's just say we have 12 drivers, right, in the playoffs. What's the need to eliminate people? You know what I mean? Like, what is the need for it? Is it just to say that, oh, you can't have a bad race at the beginning? What is really needed? Because hear me out. When you have eliminations, what are you actually doing? You're just making the drama actually less. If you have 12 drivers that earn their way into this 10-race stretch, let the 10 races play out with those 12 drivers, whatever it might be. You are taking away from a possibility. Let's just say Kyle Larson DNFs his first 2 races. Then does he deserve to be eliminated? If you get rid of winning you're in, does those 2 DNFs then mean that Kyle Larson is just gone? There's no way he can actually point his way back in. So you eliminate the way Kyle Larson might go on this incredible run in the next 8 races and make this amazing comeback that we might have never seen before and we don't see every year, where he DNF'd the first 2 races, but then he won 5 of the next 8 and he climbed up the standings, and some other guys had issues and Larson made this incredible comeback from DNFing in the first 2 races. That possibility is not even plausible when you have eliminations. And again, you have to think about winning you're in. If you want to get rid of winning you're in, then how do the eliminations work? Because the elimination format really does consist of winning you're in. That's the whole point of it. And so if you want winning you're in to be out of the regular season, why would you want winning you're in to be in the playoffs? You know what I mean? That just contradicts itself. If you have 26 races where a win doesn't advance you to the playoffs, but then we get to the playoffs and a win does advance you to the next round, what? Like, what are we doing here? So that is why I go back to my format where I'm like, let's just try to simplify this. Let's incentivize wins in terms of points. Let me just pull up my format once again. Let me go to my profile and let me go find it. Where is it? It is right here. So if you want to remove when you're in, fine. If you want it, whatever. Again, it doesn't really matter to me. But let's just incentivize winning a race more. Let's just reward them more points. No eliminations will remove the issue of race manipulation. However, it can still generate great storylines because all 10 of those drivers or 10, 12, whatever, however many you want in the playoffs, again, that could be debated. They will all have a story throughout all the races. And then when you get to the end of those 10 races, you could have 2, you could have 3, you could have 6. I don't know. Something crazy might happen. 1992 Atlanta situation where 6 drivers might be able to win a championship. You might have 4. You might have only 1. But that is what is special. We don't want every year to be the same. We want it to play out in a more natural manner. You know what I mean? Hear me out with the eliminations. I think the root issue is the championship race. I think the second issue is eliminations in the playoffs, which means I don't believe you should have a round of 3 for the final round, because you will still have those same problems. You will still have race manipulation, maybe even worse, race manipulation in the championship race, because let's say I need 5 points, right? Because then the final race is not about who finishes higher, it's about points. Then you get into another problem of race manipulation in the championship race because points here and there. Eliminations cause a lot of issues that you really just don't need. It is just something that gives fans more ammunition that will cause them to get angry about things that are gimmicks and just not that are things that are actually happening on the racetrack. Try to simplify your format as much as you can. And that is why I think those 2 issues are the main ones. Championship race and eliminations. If you can come up with a format that doesn't include those 2, then I think NASCAR is in the right path. However, I think it's going to be 1 for now. I think until 2026, like when 2026 comes around, I'll be honest, I do have hope that the championship race will be eliminated. I do have hope for that, and I will be happy. Now, will they get everything right, in my opinion? No. I still think they will have eliminations because they like it, but I wish they would see that that does have that issue that I'm trying to talk about, where it's still gimmicky, and you're really putting it in the teams. Basically, NASCAR would have to put themselves under pressure to officiate it correctly, because they would have to call out penalties, because the manipulation will happen. The race manipulation, the gimmicks, all that nonsense will happen. Now, if they want that, that's up to them, because those issues will occur when you have rounds and eliminations. And then winning your in is up to them, in my opinion. If you want it, I have a format that works for you. If you don't want it, there's a format that works for you. It really is, to be honest, what they want. And I think that's the third problem. But it's not as important as those other 2, and obviously the main one that I talked about, which is the championship race. So what do you guys think of everything here? And yeah, like I said, this is the last time that I am talking about the championship race. So, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to have a video pre-recorded for you guys. I'm going to record it right after I'm actually done recording this. And then so I'll talk about, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully see you guys Friday as well. And take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of the day. Follow me on Instagram already. Subscribe if you're new. And I will see you in Daytona. No, I'm kidding. I'll be uploading. But in NASCAR, see you in Daytona. Take care of yourselves. Peace out.